Hey, my name is Will Morgan, and I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about the importance of hunting to the state of Georgia. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that I always heard, and so this story is about how when about 60 or so years ago, there were no deer or turkey in the state of Georgia. They all had to be replenished and brought back to the state. So after all that happened, the deer and turkey population exploded. Now, after this explosion, there were a lot of farmers who had detriment to their crops, and the deer population had to be lowered as well as the turkey population. So, I'd really like to inform you about the benefits of hunting because a lot of people see the negatives of hunting. So, a lot of the benefits will be about how it benefits the state as a whole, benefits it monetarily because it helps people save money, and also is a benefit to individuals because it may help you not see as many deer on the road and cause an accident. So, deer and turkey are the two most common in the state of Georgia. And a little bit about them is that they need to be maintained. And so there needs to be a balance with within their between the different animals of different sex and between their age groups. So the main source of wildlife management in the state of Georgia is hunting. And now a couple of benefits that provides is it keeps them from being overpopulated and it benefits Georgia agriculture. The main game species also needs to be distributed between their age. Now, there is a recent study out by the Georgia Harvest and Habitat Guidelines that says Georgia hunters are taking more and more quality bucks, which means they're shooting older and older deer. Now, that means that the population is being allowed to age and allowed to grow, and so more people are seeing more deer, but at the same time, there's still deer being harvested. Now, with the turkey population, you have to keep a balance of male-to-female ratio. Now, a couple of things that hunters use are calls, such as this call, which is a voice of a hen, and also this call, which is basically what you consider kind of a different dialect of a hen. Now, because the male turkey can be harvested because you want to keep the population growing, so you want more females, you can have more males taken, which is why you have calls like these that are out on the market today. Now, a lot of hunters like to eat the meat, but also it's important because you have to have disease prevention. Because when there's an overpopulation, just like in a city, you'll have more disease and disease spread a lot easier. So, a lot of benefits are also for farmers because farmers are out there growing crops that deer love to eat. Some of those crops could be corn, soybeans, peanuts, you name it, the deer are going to go out there and probably eat it. So one of the most effective ways to reduce the population is by hunting. And that was actually in a Georgia report for controlling deer damage in the state. Now, another thing that the state has begun to do for harvesting deer is they actually issue permits to farmers suffering from economic damage from deer. And that permit is for all year round. Now, that was actually from the Georgia Deer Management Plan, and that was released by the state as well. Hunting is also a source of revenue for the state. Any revenue, like from a Georgia lifetime license, goes back into helping out the deer management, turkey management, any wildlife management in the state. So really, people by hunting are helping the state manage and help the revenue of the state. Now, one thing that you probably find most interesting is that there are about 50,000 car accidents involved with deer annually in the state of Georgia. And that was actually from a report called Controlling Deer Damage in the State of Georgia. That has a lot to do with the density of deer. When the density gets too high, deer are going to run across the road and they're going to start just being in the streets and be easier to hit. When the population is lower, then there will not be as many, obviously, and it'd be a lot harder for them to get hit around the state. So a lot of these things have to do with hunting always needs to be managed, and the state has a lot of rules and regulations, and there's something called the Hunter Safety Program. Now, you can actually attend this Hunter Safety Program, and it is a couple of days long, and you also have to take a test. And at the end of that test, you actually get a certificate with a number on it that says that you were able to pass the Hunter Safety Program. Some other things that the state has are species bag limits. Deer, you can only take 12 deer in the state of Georgia. 10 of those can be female, and 2 of those can be male, and that is statewide. So all across the state, you can take only 12 deer. For turkey, you can only take 2 male turkeys because you want to lower the amount of males and raise the amount of females so that the females are able to continually reproduce, and which allows the population to continue to grow. Now, I hope all this was able to inform you about hunting in the state of Georgia, why there are a lot of benefits to it, and why we will always need it as a management tool for wildlife.